told us to begin with.
Isn't there somebody in like your college improv group who can think fast?
No.
There you go.
What about the lower class? We keep on hearing stuff about middle class this, middle class that. What about the lower class?
That is a very, very good question, and that's another reason that I have consistently voted Democratic, because a lot of the programs that helps the lower class, and a lot of the programs that have been in the past beneficial to things like the Head Start program have been constantly under attack by Republicans. It's just not a priority, and that's a fundamental philosophy, and that goes back through. If you look at Reagan's policies and Bush's policies compared to Clinton's policies, there's just more emphasis. There's more emphasis on the lower classes, period, from the Democrats, and it just hasn't been a priority for the Republicans, at least since I've been alive and been old enough to understand what was going on. There's just no question that's 95% of families making under $250,000 a year will get a tax cut. Now, that's what Barack said at the debate, and to me that includes the lower class. 95% of families making under $250,000. If you're making $5,000 a year, you're making less than $250,000 a year. And it's a fundamental difference. It's like, and it's your choice. Where do you think those tax cuts are best put to use? By giving them to the wealthy, hoping that they spend more money and inject it back into the economy, or give it to the middle and lower classes. To me, it's a very, very clear answer. And I got richer under George Bush because of his policies, and it's not worth it.
I have a question. Obviously you're out here. A lot of us know Family Guy, know you, not personally, of course, but there have been a lot of musicians, actors, celebrities going out in support of Barack Obama, and what do you think is the role of someone like yourself, who's so well known by us? The role, what sort of responsibilities do you feel in supporting a candidate, that opportunity?
Good question. The translation of that is, what the hell business does a cartoon maker have? Really, no business at all. It's really, what we can do to help, and
It's our way of volunteering.
Yeah.
That's it's really what we can do, because we're voting like you guys, and that's why it's just important to volunteer and do whatever you can. Talk to as many people as you can.
It is. Again, we're not in politics. This is just something that we're not getting paid for this. It's just something that we feel is important, and we hope that by being out here, with some notoriety, good and bad, that we can hopefully, get people inspired to get interested in this.
What is Barack's position on things like censorship of books, movies, and video games, especially?
Well, I don't think he believes in burning them, so that's a good start.
I've never heard anyone talk about the censorship. Well, no, you're right. People have talked about the censorship of video games, but I don't know if it's come up during the elections.
It's an important issue.
It is. Well, yeah. You had Sarah Palin, of course, asking whether or not she had the right to ban books, and obviously that's unconstitutional. I can tell you emphatically, neither Barack Obama nor Joe Biden support that kind of censorship, and to be honest, at the end of the day, I would be shocked if McCain did, because it's so extreme that's something that some of the extreme loudmouths kind of talk about from time to time. I don't think either candidate supports that. I can tell you definitively, Barack Obama is very much opposed to those kinds of policies. Read what you want.
The obvious hypocrisy of choosing Sarah Palin aside, how would you address the criticisms about Obama's experience level?
Well, you look at his position on the war in Iraq. You have a very experienced guy in John McCain who made the wrong call, and you had a guy who didn't have as much experience and made the right call. And you could make the argument that, you know, when people go into politics, they do. You know, I think you do see in some of the older politicians a kind of jaded sort of. You know, they've locked themselves into the system and maybe lost some of that, you know, Rob Lowe, West Wing, Sam Seaborn idealism that made him go into politics in the first place. And you're still seeing that in Barack Obama. And it's been a long time since we've seen that in anyone who's gotten this far. And I think that's, to me, that's much more important, given the fact that the landscape is always changing. You know, it's I mean, right down to military tactics. You can know everything there is to know about, you know, naval tactics and how they were done in the Second World War, or land tactics, but know clearly nothing about how to fight terrorists. And so there has to be a willingness to kind of rewire your own brain, take what we know and process it critically, and be able to evolve and formulate new opinions based on the way the world changes. And I don't think McCain has the ability to do that as much. I think he's very set in his ways. He's not going to change now. He's 72, and I think you're going to get that from Barack. So you know, the comparative lack of experience doesn't bother me in the least.
As an Obama volunteer here, I think you guys would be very remiss in not talking about what Obama's going to do starting today or when he becomes president, getting our friends, because a lot of us have troops serving in Iraq, getting them out of Iraq and bringing the war to a close.
Well, I mean, you know, immediately after elected, he wants to start bringing, what is it, one brigade home? 1 to 2 a month home. Over a period of 60 months? Yes, but it's a start, you know. Obviously, we all know somebody who's serving over there, and at this point, I don't see a victory in sight for either side. I think that this is the time for us to leave, and that's what he wants to do ultimately. And there may be 60 to 80,000 troops, or the brigades or troops still over there. Right. But over the course of time, there's still going to be quite a few over there. But we are going to progressively pull out.
And I think also, you know, I mean, it's while everybody, you know, the men and women serving in the armed forces are, you know, I don't have that gene in me, and thank God those people do, because without them, Hitler would be running stuff, for crying out loud, without those guys. So, you know, we have all the respect in the world for those guys. Policy-wise, I think everyone pretty much agrees that the war was a mistake. The war itself was a mistake, and to me personally, more importantly than, you know, it's important to get those guys out of there, which is you know, McCain wants this to go on a little longer than Barack. To me, beyond that, the best thing we can do is make sure that we don't do it again, and that's another reason that I'm supporting Barack. Is I don't worry about that as much as I do with the Republicans. There's got to be a better. If we do it in Iran, what we did in Iraq, then it's just going to be more of the same. And I think they know that too, and that's why I sort of question what other motives might be at work. I mean, when they went into Iraq, they must have known. I mean, they know history. They're not stupid. They must have known. You know, they looked at Afghanistan. They knew what happened after the Soviets went into Afghanistan, what a mess that was in Vietnam. I mean, they're older than we are. You know, they were there, but they did it anyway. And I don't think it's because they're stupid. I think they knew. I think they just have other reasons, and I suspect of what those are.
Alright, at this current election, I'm mostly, concerned about a lot of things. The biggest issue is the environment. I'm very aware of Obama's and Hillary's position on the environment, but I looked on JohnMcCain.com, and I found a news graphic around offshore oil drilling. And I found out they support the Second Amendment.